Oscar of Alva, a Tale by Lord Byron. How sweetly shines through azure skies the lamp of heaven on Lora's shore, where Alva's hoary turrets rise, and hear the din of arms no more. But often has yon rolling moon on Alva's casques of silver played, and viewed at midnight's silent noon her chiefs in gleaming mail arrayed. And on the crimsoned rocks beneath, which scowl o'er ocean's sullen flow, pale in the scattered ranks of death, she saw the gasping warrior low. While many an eye, which ne'er again could mark the rising orb of day, turned feebly from the gory plain, beheld in death her fading ray. Once to those eyes the lamp of love, they blessed her dear propitious light, but now she glimmered from above, a sad funereal torch of night. Faded is Alva's noble race, and grey her towers are seen afar. No more her heroes urge the chase, or roll the crimson tide of war. But who was last of Alva's clan? Why grows the moss on Alva's stone? Her towers resound no steps of man, they echo to the gale alone. And when that gale is fierce and high, a sound is heard in yonder hall. It rises hoarsely through the sky, and vibrates o'er the mouldering wall. Yes, when the eddying tempest sighs, it shakes the shield of Oscar brave, but there no more his banners rise, no more his plumes of sable wave. Fair shone the sun on Oscar's birth, when Angus hailed his eldest born. The vassals round their chieftain's hearth crowd to applaud the happy morn. They feast upon the mountain deer, the pibroch raised its piercing note, to gladden more their highland cheer, the strains of martial numbers float. And they who heard the war notes wild hoped that one day the pibroch strain should play before the hero's child, while he should lead the tartan train. Another year is quickly past, and Angus hails another son. His natal day is like the last, nor soon the jocund feast was done. Taught by their sire to bend the bow on Alva's dusky hills of wind, the boys in childhood chased the roe, and left their hounds in speed behind. But ere their years of youth are o'er, they mingle in the ranks of war. They lightly wield the bright claymore, and send the whistling arrow far. Dark was the flow of Oscar's hair, wildly it streamed along the gale, but Allan's locks were bright and fair, and pensive seemed his cheeks, and pale. But Oscar owned a hero's soul, his dark eye shone through beams of truth. Allan had early learned control, and smooth his words had been from youth. Both were brave, the Saxon spear was shivered off beneath their steel, and Oscar's bosom scorned to fear, but Oscar's bosom knew to feel. While Allan's soul belied his form, unworthy with such charms to dwell, keen as the lightning of the storm, on foes his deadly vengeance fell. From high South Annan's distant tower arrived a young and noble dame, with Kenneth's land to form her dower. Glenalvan's blue-eyed daughter came. And Oscar claimed the beauteous bride, and Angus on his Oscar smiled. It soothed the father's feudal pride, thus to obtain Glenalvan's child. Hark to the pibroch's pleasing note, hark to the swelling nuptial song. In joyous strains the voices float, and still the choral peal prolong. See how the heroes' blood-red plumes assembled wave in Alva's hall. Each youth his varied plaid assumes, attending on their chieftain's call. It is not war their aid demands, the pibroch plays the song of peace. To Oscar's nuptials throng the brands, nor yet the sounds of pleasure cease. But where is Oscar? Sure 'tis late. Is this a bridegroom's ardent flame? While thronging guests and ladies wait, nor Oscar nor his brother came. At length young Allan joined the bride. Why comes not Oscar? Angus said. Is he not there? The youth replied. With me he roved not o'er the glade. Perchance forgetful of the day, 'tis his to chase the bounding roe, or ocean's waves prolong his stay. Yet Oscar's bark is seldom slow. Oh no, the anguished sire rejoined, nor chase nor wave my boy delay. Would he to Mora seem unkind? Would aught to her impede his way? O search, ye chiefs, O search around! Allan with these through Alva fly. till my son is found. Haste, haste, nor dare attempt reply. All is confusion. Through the veil, the name of Oscar hoarsely rings. It rises on the murmuring gale, till night expands her dusky wings. It breaks the stillness of the night, but echoes through her shades in vain. It sounds through morning's misty light, but Oscar comes not o'er the plain. 3 days, 3 sleepless nights the chief for Oscar searched each mountain cave. Then hope is lost in boundless grief, his locks in grey-torn ringlets wave. Oscar, my son, thou God of heaven, restore the prop of sinking age, or if that hope no more is given, yield his assassin to my rage. Yes, on some desert rocky shore my Oscar's whitened bones must lie. Then grant thou, God, I ask no more, with him that frantic sire may die. Yet he may live, away despair, be calm my soul, he yet may live. To rein my faith my voice forbear, O God, my impious prayer forgive. What if he live for me no more? I sink forgotten in the dust. The hope of Alva's age is o'er. Alas, can pangs like these be just? Thus did the hapless parent mourn, till time which soothes severest woe had bade serenity return, and made the teardrop cease to flow. For still some latent hope survived, that Oscar might once more appear. His hope now drooped and now revived, till time had told a tedious year. Days rolled along, the orb of light again had run his destined race. No Oscar blessed his father's sight, and sorrow left a fainter trace. For youthful Allen still remained, and now his father's only joy, and Mora's heart was quickly gained, for beauty crowned the fair-haired boy. She thought that Oscar low was laid, and Allen's face was wondrous fair. If Oscar lived, some other maid had claimed his faithless bosom's care. And Angus said if 1 year more in fruitless hope was passed away, his fondest scruples should be o'er, and he would name their nuptial day. Slow rolled the moons, but blest at last arrived the dearly destined morn. The year of anxious trembling past, what smiled the lovers' cheeks at dawn. Hark to the pibroch's pleasing note, hark to the swelling nuptial song. In joyous strains the voices float, and still the choral peal prolong. Again the clan in festive crowd throng through the gate of Alva's hall. The sounds of mirth re-echo loud, and all their former joy recall. But who is he whose darkened brow glooms in the midst of general mirth? Before his eyes far fiercer glow, the blue flames curdle o'er the hearth. Dark is the robe which wraps his form, and tall his plumes of glory red. His voice is like the rising storm, but light and trackless in his tread. 'Tis noon of night, the pledge goes round, the bridegroom's health is deeply quaffed. With shouts the vaulted roofs resound, and all combine to hail the draught. Sudden the stranger chief arose, and all the clamorous crowd are hushed, and Angus' cheeks with wonder glows, and Mora's tender bosom blushed. Old man, he cried, this pledge is done. Thou saw'st 'twas duly drank to me. It hailed the nuptials of thy son. Now will I claim a pledge from thee, while all around is mirth and joy, to bless thy Allen's happy lot. Say, hadst thou ne'er another boy? Say, why should Oscar be forgot? Alas, the hapless sire replied, the big tear starting as he spoke. When Oscar left my hall or died, this aged heart was almost broke. Thrice has the earth revolved her course since Oscar's form has blessed my sight, and Allen is my last resource since martial Oscar's death or flight. 'Tis well, replied the stranger stern, and fiercely flashed his rolling eye. Thy Oscar's fate I fain would learn. Perhaps the hero did not die. Perchance if those whom most he loved would call thy Oscar might return. Perchance the chief has only roved, for him thy Beltane yet may burn. Fill high the bowl, the table round, we will not claim the pledge by stealth. With wine let every cup be crowned. Pledge me departed Oscar's health. With all my soul, old Angus said, and filled his goblet to the brim. Here's to my boy, alive or dead. I ne'er shall find a son like him. Bravely, old man, this health has sped, but why does Allen trembling stand? Come drink remembrance of the dead, and raise thy cup with firmer hand. The crimson glow of Allen's face was turned at once to ghastly hue. The drops of death each other chase, adown in agonizing dew. Thrice did he raise the goblet high, and thrice his lips refused to taste. For thrice he caught the stranger's eye, on his with deadly fury placed. And is it thus a brother hails, a brother's fond remembrance here? If thus affection's strength prevails, what might we not expect from fear? Roused by the sneer, he raised the bowl. Would Oscar now could share our mirth? Internal fear appalled his soul. He said and dashed the cup to earth. "'Tis here I hear my murderer's voice." Loud shrieks a darkly gleaming form. "A murderer's voice," the roof replies, and deeply swells the bursting storm. The tapers wink, the chieftains shrink, the stranger's gone amidst the crew. A form was seen in tartan green, and tall the shade terrific grew. His waist was bound with a broad belt round, his plume of sable streamed on high. But his breast was bare, with the red wounds there, and fixed was the glare of his glassy eye. And thrice he smiled, with his eye so wild, on Angus bending low the knee. And thrice he frowned on a chief on the ground, whom shivering crowds with horror see. The bolts loud roll from pole to pole, the thunders through the welkin ring, and the gleaming form through the midst of the storm was borne on high by the whirlwind's wing. Cold was the feast, the revel ceased. Who lies upon the stony floor? Oblivion pressed old Angus' breast. At length the life pulse throbs once more. Away, away, let the leech away, to pour the light on Allen's eyes. His sand is done, his race is run. Oh, never more shall Allen rise. But Oscar's breast is cold as clay. His locks are lifted by the gale, and Allen's barbed arrow lay with him in dark Glentanar's vale. And whence the dreadful stranger came, or who no mortal wight can tell, but no one doubts the form of flame, for Alva's sons knew Oscar well. Ambition nerved young Allen's hand, exulting demons winged his dart, while envy waved her burning brand, and poured her venom round his heart. Swift is the shaft from Allen's bow, whose streaming lifeblood stains his side. Dark Oscar's sable crest is low, the dark has drunk his vital tide. And more as eye could Allen move, she bade his wounded pride rebel. Alas, that eyes which beamed with love should urge the soul to deeds of hell. Lo, seest thou not a lonely tomb which rises o'er a warrior dead? It glimmers through the twilight gloom. Oh, that is Allen's nuptial bed. Far distant, far the noble grave, which held his clan's greatest ashes stood, and o'er his corse no banners wave, for they were stained with kindred blood. What minstrel grey, what hoary bard, shall Allen's deeds on heartstrings raise? The song is glory's chief reward, but who can strike a murderer's praise? Unstrung, untouched, the harp must stand, no minstrel dare the theme awake. Guilt would benumb his palsied hand, his harp in shuddering chords would break. No lyre of fame, no hallowed verse, shall sound his glories high in air. A dying father's bitter curse, a brother's death groan echoes there.